always have bad luck with dating, and now I just want to be completely done with all men. My best friend, that's what the mainstream wants you to think. My best friend likes to joke that my type is red flags, but honestly, she's right. I'm attracted to broken men because I like to fix people, and good guys are just boring. I always end up dating the bad ones, even though I know they're not the kind of men I want to marry, but I always think that I can fix them into who I want them to be. I'm so sick of dating awful men, but I'm just not attracted to the good ones. Do you have any ideas how to help me fix my standards? See, this is a question where this is like meeting a girl when you're 30.
Okay.
And you didn't meet the girl when you're in college. You didn't meet the girl when you're in high school. You met a girl in a snapshot in time. You just met her when you're 32.
Okay.
And you have no context of who she is. You just see this weird behavior.
Yeah.
And you're like, I can never truly know you because I didn't grow up with you. I don't know your family dynamics. You don't live with your parents anymore. Like, not that I want to psychoanalyze your life, but I do. I need to understand.
I can tell you some of the family dynamics. Clearly doesn't have a good relationship with her father.
Right. But I wish I knew. See, normally these messages, there's like they give a little bit of background because they know in their heart, like, I know this stems from this, but they're not making the connection. They want us to make the connection.
Yeah.
They didn't give us anything. So I think this girl's completely clueless as to why.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Josh is saying, oftentimes this goes back to your father problems that you had with your father.
Yeah.
It's a generational curse, Josh. It'll just keep going around.
Why do you think if you don't have a good relationship with your dad, why do girls do this?
I don't know.
And why is that like an obvious thing that you, when you see it, you know, okay, well, clearly, is there just something about like not having that security blanket of like knowing that you can trust that your dad is going to be there for you?
No, it's comforting is what it is, because even though your father was bad to you, it's all you've known. So to break out of that, it's just like an abusive relationship. It's like, well, this is what I know. I know that he does this bad stuff to me, and then things are better. And then it happens again, but I know it's better.
It's like things are bad, but I'm at least here.
Yeah, it's you are familiar with it.
Right.
So it's very hard for any human to break out of anything of a pattern that is built in their brains.
Yeah.
It's just we like to go autopilot. Even if it's the hardest route and it's ruining our lives, we have to go on autopilot because it's the easiest thing for our brains to do. We've wired in those programs. It's hard to take a program out literally and re-import something new. That is like the hardest thing for a person to do in their life.
Have you ever seen the movie Good Will Hunting?
No. Who's in that?
Matt Damon and Robin Williams.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's like Matt Damon is like this genius kid, but he behaves like a goofball. Like he doesn't take responsibility for how intelligent he is. And so he goes to a therapist, Robin Williams. And so the end of the movie is basically Robin Williams trying to get him to understand that the things like his parents leaving or getting divorced or whatever it is in the movie, it's not his fault. And so that's like the famous scene at the end is Robin Williams just repeating to him over and over again, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. And at first, Matt Damon's like, come on, stop messing with me. Come on, stop. No, seriously, stop. Stop saying that. Stop it. And eventually he starts like hitting Robin Williams and then eventually just breaks down crying or whatever when he finally realizes like he was a kid. This is not... I had nothing I did was the reason that any of these things happen.
Yeah, it sounds like a good movie. I should watch that.
Yeah.
But exactly what this is.
That's what it kind of reminded me of. Is if you don't have a good relationship with your parents, you somehow in your head, I think that what it is you think, well, they had me, so at some point they were good, but now I'm here and they're not good.
Yeah, that's such a good point.
And I can, even, oh man, this is what, it's honestly kind of freaks me out a little bit because if ever Kelly and I are even like slightly talking contentiously to each other about something, I can look across the room and I can see it on Isaac's face. Like I can see that just like that low grade, just like why are they talking like that? And
Yeah.
in a way that before we had kids, I wouldn't have even thought about like, oh, you know what? We're talking a little bit elevated right now.
Yeah, exactly. There's no reason to think about that because you can handle it
right
in your weird way.
Right.
But a kid can't. And they just always just blame themselves.
Yeah,
For some
exactly.
reason. It's why is that default kids? I don't know.
I think it's because in a kid's head they understand mom and dad were here before I got here.
Yeah, that might be it.
And now they're having an argument, and
maybe about something that is regarding something that I have or me or
right,
us.
and that's why, especially if it has something to do with the boys, it's like, okay, we'll talk about this later, because it's so dumb because you think before you have kids you're like, oh, I'll never do that, and then it's just like it's so easy. It's so easy because there's so much going on in a day. It's like, hey, we need to talk about this right now because if not, I'm going to forget. We need to mention this, blah, 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 blah. But some people take that a lot farther than other people. But even if you're like really trying, it's hard. So I say that to say, it's tough being a parent. But it's also very, very difficult being a kid, especially in a situation where your parents weren't doing the best job. You got to fix that first. You got to figure all that out first before you can find out why you just are attracting these Han Solo types in your life all the time.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I always say I never know what the answer is for you, but the first step is to just be aware that is why. Yeah. And then if you're just aware of it, then it will change over time because you're acknowledging what it is. You're not just living in this mystery.